Thank you so much, Dash. What a pleasure it is to be here to bring you this series, a battle of LCK Titans, the history of the LCK versus the modern day. There's too many storylines.
Man.
That's the only time we used a graphic with that many lines of text. There's actually too much to talk about. There's nothing short on supply of narrative.
I mean, this is what happens when you get the most successful organization in league history versus the 2020 world champions who dominated Korea.
Exactly. I mean, it's all been about T1 over the course of League of Legends, but the last 2 years have been about Dom1. You know, both in the LCK and internationally, they have been incredible. You know, T1 has so many titles to their name, but it's been 5 years since FLICKR has won a world championship, since T1 has won a world championship. It has been a while, and they are trying to reclaim that ultimate title.
And it absolutely speaks to the dominance of FLICKR that it has been 5 years, and yet always, anytime he is anywhere, we are looking at him to be the player. Of course, hard to know what exactly we're going to see in this series. Everyone everywhere has their fingers crossed for 5 games because we're looking at a series that could rival Rock's SKT, T1 versus Dom1. But something that we need to just have to wait and see what form both these teams come in on.
I mean, between both teams, you've got 12 LCK titles. You've got 4 World Championship titles between both these teams. You've got 2 MSI titles. Oh, I can't wait to get into it.
and as much as everyone has been talking about the Dom1 9-0, T1 has only dropped 1 game. They have been no slouches themselves. They are 8-1 all the way to the semifinals. That is an incredible run. The only team who has ever gotten to the finals without dropping a game, I'll give you one guess, it's T1. So Dom1 are chasing history in so many different ways here, trying to make some ground on T1 to catch up with those international titles and also try to match that record of the perfect 12-0 straight through finals.
And we're in a situation where not only do the organizations and the team have history and have these stories behind them, but so many of the individual players we have to keep our eye on, we have to watch from Canna and Khan. Canna, a guy who looked up to Khan as he was rising, made an idol a rival as he now faces him in the semifinals. And for Khan on the opposite side, the last dance, this is his final tournament. It is do or die in this best of 5.
It's every single role, Draco. So you can go to jungle, you've got the best jungler in the world for the last year or 2 years versus Oner in his first world championship. And I don't really have to describe mid lane matchup, do I? But we're straight into picks and bans, which I think will be so important going into this first game. Dom1 on the blue side, I think they're going to ban away. There's Gumayusi Philios. I'm expecting Nami, LeBlanc, and maybe coming out from Dom1 as well. T1 could ban away things like TF, Lucian, and Yubi.
Yeah, it's so interesting because it had been 7 straight games and 7 straight wins on the Aphelios. Gumayusi across Aphelios and Jinx, 20-2 this year. All other picks combined, 17-23. And it had been shocking that he kept getting this pick because he's so dominant on it. So I'm so interested to see what they have prepared now down in that bot lane.
Yeah, and with that Syndra ban, maybe T1 want to leave Lee Sin over to Canyon and pick Poppy into it. I mean, we saw Canyon's Lee Sin 3 games in a row against Mad Lions look dominant. Expecting Dom1 maybe to look for Syndra, for LeBlanc bans perhaps, with now Syndra being down.
And obviously, Oner, one of the original adopters of the Poppy jungle in this tournament. That said, Canyon's Lee Sin performance against the Mad Lions was monstrous. Single-handedly, I think one of the best of 5s we've seen on Lee Sin ever. So even though Poppy has some of those positive interactions, you always feel like it's a bit of a risk to give Canyon such a strong comfort pick.
But the Lee Sin is going to be up, and very likely they will be going over. I do think T1 could easily answer, with the Poppy if they want to go that route. Oner has not actually played the Lee Sin yet this tournament, but he does feel very comfortable in the matchup.
There's a lot of OP picks right now. You've got MF, you've got LeBlanc. Maybe you want to pick both these up and then pick Poppy on 3. Kennen is still up and Jayce too. So I think Dom1 are going to snatch up LeBlanc if T1 don't.
And as much as I know Lissandra is the conventional counterpick to LeBlanc, either one of these mid laners playing Lissandra is so sad to see. We want flashy assassin v assassin, and yes, it's a good champion, and yes, you can play for the team, and you can play for the lane matchup, but I want to see people style it. Yes!
FLICKR's
Ryze in game 1. It's a gift. Thank you, Mr. FLICKR.
And how will ShowMaker respond with Syndra down? We saw Syndra Lee Sin being picked by Dom1 2 out of the 3 games
Jayce
in the Mad Lions series. There's the Jayce pick. With Graves being down, it makes a lot of sense right now. You're forced into things like Kennen and Gwen if Khan wants to pick those now.
And with TF banned, you have Ryze, a pick that can actually move very well, utilizing the ultimate, push, and then roam up towards that top side, play towards the Jayce. You do think if you're trying to play through that Jayce, play towards this kind of 1-3-1 style, that they want to have a fairly strong jungler. I think Poppy on 3, as you said earlier, could make a lot of sense. But it also feels like roaming supports get that much more valuable in these situations. And this could be Khan's Lucian top as an answer into the Jayce.
It definitely could be. Nami being down makes you wonder if it is going to bot lane.
Yeah.
I mean, the only real way you play Lucian bot is with Braum perhaps, but T1 have last pick, so they could counter support if they want to. So that's probably going to be Khan's Lucian. The only pentakill of the tournament, I believe, was Khan on Lucian into Jayce. Top lane is going to be Armageddon. LeBlanc, Lee Sin.
Oh my God,
there it is. This is a poppy game, 100%.
Yeah.
3 dashes, all top side pick. It's going to be a top side Armageddon.
Yeah, this is just so much attention towards that top side. I mean, Damwon have drafted an incredibly powerful duo in top, a duo with jungle mid. And it does really, I think, raise the priority of these roaming supports, because we have seen, you know, a lot of Enchanter supports, these secondary picks, where people, especially in the LPL quarterfinals, people were doing Enchanter last picks and trying to win through 2v2. I think you kind of have to go towards a roaming support when the game is going to be decided on the other side of the map, and Poppy comes through as expected. So now it's all up to those bot lanes.
Absolutely is, and we're looking at some of the most volatile top-side matchups that we have seen in a while this tournament. Certainly the tools on the side of T1 to disrupt and to find advantages, but it feels like if either top side gets ahead, it's going to be so easy for them to take control of this matchup. And what we learned, if anything, from the LCK finals is that T1 are a team that can get ahead, that can snowball the early game. That said, it was never enough against Damwon when Damwon found all those comebacks.
And one of the major issues for T1 in those losses had been the fact that they struggled to actually get vision inside lanes to be able to push and play safely through those side lanes in 1-3-1s and 1-4 situations. They were constantly getting picked off even when they were playing from an advantage. So that's something that I really want to track and see, has T1 actually improved on that? Can they play through the mid game here against Damwon?
We'll have to wait and see, because there's a lot of 1-3-1 on both these sides, but AD pick is what I'm looking at here. I mean, Jhin is up, Draven is up. I expect the Lucian to go towards top side, but Jhin and Draven are the two champs that stand out to me alongside MF and maybe a Kai'Sa, but Leona gonna get picked up straight away. Makes a lot of sense, right? Engage support, you just talked about it. Azale, a roaming support, Leona does it best. Now, there is a chance that Lucian could go bot to Lucian Braum, but I doubt it.
Yeah, I don't see it happening. I think it will be played towards top side. I'm going to be interested if Keria and Gumayusi even want to go towards like an Ezreal and just play a very defensive bot lane, so that the Keria has the ability to move, to actually roam really heavily. Obviously, the Ziggs was banned away to try to prevent Ghost from playing that, to enable BeryL's roams. And it's going to be really, really interesting, because Jinx banned out. As I said, Jinx and Aphelios, those were the two big champions for Gumayusi. 20 and 2 on those two champions combined across this year.
Absolutely massive. Of course, has to go to maybe one of the secondary options. Ezreal a safe pick, and wouldn't be surprised to see that be the choice come out. Damwon, of course, debating on their final pick here. Utility bot lane seems to be the name of the game. It is not going to be about playing through bot lane. The second we see a Jhin, that basically confirms it. We know whatever BeryL is going to go for here, he's going to be roaming. And Maokai...
Is that Maokai support?
Oh.
I like it.
This is really interesting. I wonder if he's going to do like a more tanky build, like go lock it, or if it's going to be mandate Maokai. Because that would be really, really interesting to actually see.
Are we going to see a Draven match into this bot lane of Jhin, Maokai? We talked about engage supports that can roam around the map. No, maybe we're going to get a Kai'Sa, but looking at both drafts already, Damwon with LeBlanc Lee Sin is just so scary. This mid jungle has so much setup, and we saw how well they can do playing through mid with Syndra Lee Sin. Now they get LeBlanc Lee Sin. Fun fact, Canyon is undefeated on Lee Sin this year. He's 4-0 at Worlds, he's 9-0 in total, and ShowMaker is 9-1 on LeBlanc. These are their comfort picks, and these are picks to snowball topside.
Now this is really, really interesting. Both the Jhin and the MF obviously can be left alone if the supports are going to roam, but you know, this is not an Ezreal or a Ziggs who's as safe to function on their own, and both sides do have supports that can engage and actually punish these marksmen if they are by themselves. So this is going to be really, really exciting. BeryL throwing a bit of a curveball here with this Maokai support, and this can dictate the meta for the series going forward if it's successful.
We saw the MF Cyrus last time around 5 years ago in the Rocks SKT series. Now T1 versus Damwon. There's a Maokai into Leona. Both these compositions 1-3-1. Both these compositions single target damage. The ADs are there to facilitate. So just like the Azale talked about, we're going to see 4-man topsides. MF obviously more favored because she can run towards mid much faster than the Jhin, but we'll have to keep our eyes on how both bot lanes try to adapt and include themselves in the top side of the map.
And it's always good to remember when you are playing Maokai support into Leona, you can actually Q the Zenith Blade. If you time that correctly, you can knock back that Leona, so you can't necessarily follow up very easily there. There is some ability to have some nice outplay with the root. You have that invulnerability to set up actually tower dives. Can be very, very effective. You pull aggro, then when you're going to take that last tower shot, you use the W, reset the aggro. So there's a lot of cool things you can actually do with this pick.
And now we get ready. Brace yourselves. It might be a calm few minutes. It might be an absolute bloodbath, but no matter what, it will be an amazing semifinal. DWG KIA going toe-to-toe with T1, the best right now versus the best that ever was. Pressure starts to mount. It is just a game one, but it can mean so much to get ahead, to find any kind of lead, to build any kind of advantage. And we talked about it in the matchups. It's explosive. Both teams aware of it. They're ready to risk it. They're ready to throw 5-man top just to try to find some kind of early lead.
Yeah, and BeryL actually went top toward that, wanting to protect Con. Also, just even having that ward in the brush is actually really big for range versus range. So BeryL went up, spent that ward. If you have that ward in the brush and Jayce is trying to play that brush, it gives you a significant advantage in the 1v1. So T1 look to try to catch someone in the river. They don't, but at the very least, they do have the D ward. And Canna will be playing with the ward advantage because you can see that has actually been placed up there, and he still has his trinket ward available.
Yeah, both junglers will path up towards the top side.
Of course, check on the early jungle pathing, see where they're going to find the leash. But for now, Verizon 5G All Chat, share your opinions, cheers, and well wishes using the Verizon 5G All Chat. Let us know who you think is going to take this. Or if Maokai is the big brain counter pick against Leona that we've been waiting for this entire tournament.
And Maokai builds, just like Azael touched on, we might see Mandate, we might see Locket. It's going to be Aftershock Maokai, probably a W or a Q max. I've seen both actually in solo queue, so interesting to see what BeryL opts into. Of course, the Poppy W can stop a lot of Damon's engage. Lucian, LeBlanc, Maokai all can get blocked by this Poppy W. So a lot of defensive tools for T1 to kite back. Pryos are going to be the aim of the game on the top side of the map as both junglers look to contest the early crab. Ryze, of course, has the early push into ShowMaker.
Yeah, and if they are going to be playing heavily around these neutral objectives, the Maokai ultimate can actually be super, super powerful to set up a secondary engage because it forces you to all kind of, just squish together and hide behind one member, which can set players up like Canyon to find these multi-man kicks, to find flank angles, or even just utilizing it to actually zone T1 off of that area.
Yeah, and it's easy to see the strengths of Leona and what she provides in immediate engage, but you have the reliability of point and click with Maokai. And while the ultimate isn't as reliable, you also have little things that can help out in the laning phase, like sustain. The fact that your passive heals you up means that if it's just short trades, back and forth, over time, Maokai will win out because he can keep himself nice and healthy.
And one of the things I always really like, actually, when I've been playing Maokai support, is the fact that saplings, even if you don't have a ward available, you can use the saplings to actually cover the brushes. It makes it very easy to have a sapling in Try, a sapling in the river brush, and know if a gank is on the way. And that is just one of those little things. Very easy to check rushes, to clear for vision. Maokai's going to have a really safe time doing that.
Yeah, and I think setup is going to be very important for both teams. We talked about LeBlanc, Lucian having great setup. I mean, chain into Lucian Q, Ryze is as good as dead. But on the other side, the setup for Poppy Ryze is not as good onto the LeBlanc. So I think Oner will have to play through mid defensively as FLICKR's TP being top.
He doesn't see it. Con doesn't know.
Canna gonna have to go into hammer form. He can just knock him right into FLICKR point and click that one down. E into the W. Now they're trying to finish off. Canna taking a decent amount of damage back, but Con will drop for first blood. FLICKR picking up the kill.
Yeah, ShowMaker doesn't even match the TP because FLICKR is already based. Good pre-planned setup there in top lane. 41, letting Canna get pushed in, put the ward behind. FLICKR comes in, easy first blood for the top side.
Yeah, and Con just didn't have his eyes back in that lane. Didn't have his eyes on where that ward could be. The early TP from FLICKR making such a difference, and the wave is not actually reset here. It will eventually push because it is quite close to the tower, but Con gonna look to try to reset that, and with Oner topside, you've got to be really careful about dying after your TP.
The danger for T1 now is FLICKR doesn't have TP, of course, so ShowMaker could base here. Canyon could go up towards the top side and make a 3-man dive top with ShowMaker's TP. Canna still has flash, so he can play defensive, and Oner's hovering around. He will base now, but this stacking wave crashing, I think they might want to try and cover it.
This ward is so value. That's the TP ward. Also spots Canyon, so they've got eyes on it, and Canna will be able to play pretty defensively here.
At the end of the day, wild to see mid laners already moving out. FLICKR such an early teleport, and we knew that mid lane would be important. We talked about the importance of roaming. TF banned away. You're seeing LeBlanc, yes, she can be hypermobile, but locked in that lane for a little bit. FLICKR, honestly, fantastic use of the teleport, and mid lane matchup already delivering, even if not in the direct 1v1.
And when you see the drafts, you know that you've got to get out to the side lanes as FLICKR. You're playing this Ryze, you want to push and move, you want to be able to get the Jayce ahead, play together as a strong 1-3-1.
Hold on to that thought. Ghost now going in. Root now coming out. BeryL
Saplings!
stepping forward. Knight now ticking down. BeryL ticking. Gumayusi has to run. He has no mana on this one. The trade's going to keep going, but Oner's on the way in. Now they sniff this one out. Canyon in the area, though. Are they baiting Oner in? Poppy now coming down. BeryL can try to W, make it out to safety. Walking away from this one for now. Flash out to safety. They don't have any more follow-up damage. Oner flashing forward, trying to finish the job. But Maokai living. The safeguard is there. Canyon turns it back, and it's disaster for T1 on the bottom side. But they're looking for a return play on the top side. Con going to be in trouble already down once. Locked up, but again and knocks down. T1 find the counter blow.
This is what we want to see. Early game action matched on both sides. Damwon responding with a TP bot after FLICKR makes a play top. And the second he does go for that play, FLICKR's already ready to respond in the top lane. The bot fight was kind of backfiring there. Canyon and Damwon, great patience on the bait.
Yeah, such good pathing there by Canyon. Right place, right time. He is there. And Oner's flying in, trying to make something happen. But after you've used your spells from Poppy, you don't have consistent damage. The safeguard is always going to be enough to actually protect the Maokai. And when Maokai uses that Twisted Advance, Poppy's W does not block that because you do go untargetable. So wasn't really able to get any value from the Poppy W on that play either.
End of the day, solid start now. Gold, though, still relatively close, all things considered. Only 300 ahead for DWG KIA. Following CS relatively even. Cole on the top side going to help Con learn back some of this deficit. But we take a look at this play one more time, and you can see Oner maybe a little over-eager.
Yeah, let's watch Oner here, because I feel like he made a mechanical misplay here. He W's a little bit late on the Maokai, and then he eased through the Lucian and tries to flash to kill BeryL, but he just healed up a tiny bit towards the end of the fight, so he didn't actually get the kill. Keria knows he's dead, and like you said, Gumayusi has to run away with no mana. FLICKR responding on the top side.
Yep, moving up towards that top side. The flash was already down. It's another kill there for Canna, and Con just having a laugh about it.
And I think that although the gold is only 400 in Damwon's favor, they have such a much stronger position right now because of the Ryze. He's so immobile. And you're against the LeBlanc Lucian with summoners up as Gumayusi
goes. 3 bullets left if he gets that 4-shot. Gumayusi's certainly gone, but Gumayusi not going to extend the trade. Knows to walk away while he has the slow.
Yeah, FLICKR goes for the early Merc threats. Ruby Crystal as well. He knows he's going to be the target for Damwon. If mid jungle can unlock the mid lane for ShowMaker, they can control both sides, and T1 needs to juggle FLICKR to make sure that he's safe in this mid lane because there's so much kill threat on him.
And honestly, every single one of these matches just feels so tense. There's so many tools to get the fight started off. Even in top lane, you can see Con just using the culling to push out the wave. Oner's in the area, as is Canyon. See if Con's gonna get punished for sticking around too long, especially as Canyon retreats, but he has some decent vision to cover him. That said, Pink in the brush, as of yet, undetected. TP is still very far out from FLICKR, but always the potential to see a rinse and repeat when it does come available.
And Oner is looking like he wants to be here at the very least to cover. They're not sure if Canyon is in the river. They don't have eyes on that. So this is just him staying around in case Canyon was up there on that top side.
And he's looking at Prios right now. Just like Damwon have the push in mid, FLICKR will have to give up the push in mid as well, sorry. And they have vision towards the bot side, so BeryL can actually push in with Ghost and move towards mid whenever he wants. There's a lot of pressure there, and T1, 30 seconds on Herald. Maybe
look at all these Jhin traps and saplings everywhere. That's so annoying.
It's a minefield. It's an absolute minefield. Wherever Keria goes, he's going to get hit by something. Wards, traps, and Oner now juggling and cycling through his second blue buff respawn on a pink ward, though. This bot side vision doing so many favors for Damwon.
Oh, and for Oner, clearing it out, of course, checking in with Grace at Animated Elf. I feel like this semifinal is the single most important series of games at Worlds. Whoever wins this will likely win it all. I think a lot of people are feeling the same way, Grace. Totally valid. And based on the start of this game, I mean, it could go either way. 4 kills already in the board, 8 minutes in. Not even a 1,000 gold lead over to DK. No Heralds, no Dragons going over to either side. But this Herald would certainly be a positive start. Oner and FLICKR, though, not going to let it go so easily.
The concern you always have is that Damwon is so good in the mid game, so good in the late game. Even in the finals, T1 led in gold 3 out of 4 of those games, but weren't able to close it out. And now everyone moving up towards this. Gumayushi's down on the bot side, though, so T1 have got to give it up, and it looks like they will do so.
Will Gumayusi move back towards the top side, though? Looks like he's going to get spotted on a ward, but he is level 6, has no boots, but he's pretty quick on the MF, 380 move speed. It's all about the mid-wave contest and then moving up towards the top side. We know T1 loves to contest these Heralds. They don't have a lot of vision, though, so they're going to have to brute force this. Canna's going to be really split. Damwon are going to be a death pool, and Canna's going to be off towards the side.
BeryL's ult so good from stopping any kind of potential engagement coming through. If he ults early, he can stop T1's engaging their tracks. Canna off to the side. Canna now has to flash out to safety. DWG KIA taking their time. Back to the Herald, turning to T1. Will be bad. That's going to be ulti, but it's not going to knock anybody away. Multiple members now rooted up. Curtain call coming out. Naked Rain goes down. T1 on the retreat, but already the Herald going in favor of DWG KIA. Slow, steady control. Damwon take the objective.
Really clean from Damwon. I just think that T1 is over-forcing. It's so difficult to enter that when Damwon have positioning there, when they have the Maokai throwing constant saplings with the ultimate to actually zone. Damwon just had really good positioning. So if T1 actually fully committed to that, they're likely going to get slaughtered, and I would have liked to see them push out lanes, stay bot. Gumayusi was already down there. You can give up the Herald and try to trade it for something elsewhere. But this has been a T1 habit all year long. They will fight you at Herald even when they shouldn't.
FLICKR getting traded on there, and yeah, I think Azel's right there. They only really had one option to that fight. If the Poppy ultimate hit Lucian, then they can commit. But because Keria was level 5 and BeryL was level 6, the support engage advantage was in Damwon's favor, so T1 couldn't single out a target. If they could knock someone away and get a numbers advantage, then they can press forward, but otherwise it was way too difficult. Now Keria's just abandoned bot, moved towards the top side. Herald is obviously down and is in Canyon's favor, but getting this Lucian behind would set T1 up for a much stronger mid game because they'll have more pressure over the side lanes.
And honestly, it's so important that we come back to the top side matchup because it is going to be very intense. You can already see Keria moving in here, potential to get a play, potential to look for something as Khan will now back away. Khan very much being focused in sort of a do-or-die moment for him, the final tournament of his career. Khan on the opposite side, a guy who looked up to Khan, an opportunity to take down someone he envied for so long. And you can see both these players, incredible individual statistic. Yes, KDA favoring Canna a little bit, but when you look at the damage, when you look at the CSD, you can see that Khan has had a fantastic tournament.
Absolutely. I mean, it feels like he's peaking at the right time, right? He has won titles regionally. He has never gotten that international title. He's going for it, but Damwon looking for the dive here, bot side.
BeryL moving forward again. Point-click CC makes it very easy to find the setup. Lucian now moving in. Keria doing his best to disrupt, but already his AD has dropped. Damwon KIA across the map, finding advantage, building the gold lead. And Canyon wants a little bit more. Ghost going in. The stun will not connect. Shield of Daybreak will not land. Damwon KIA walking away with 2.
And they got the Herald as well. They can get so much here. T1 is trying to get something done on the top side, but you can see BeryL's already going back to base. He can actually look to move and match this as Khan is just getting shoved out.
Yeah, nothing will come of this. Oner's just trying to push Khan away, but he might die in the 1v1. He has to be careful.
Power shock back missing means that Oner should just be able to walk away, runs through the acceleration gate, can just walk back through the lane, but a few tower plays going over to T1. Sadly, with the Herald used on the bottom side, it likely means first tower of the series over to the side of Damwon KIA, and that gold lead's starting to grow.
Look at the lead for Ghost over Gumayusi already in this bot lane. 5,100 to 3,400 there. The Jhin is going to be a problem.
It definitely will. Luckily for T1, though, it's a 1-3-1 game. Both these solo laners, Lucian will be against Jayce, LeBlanc will be against Ryze on the side lanes. Whoever can get the push on both those sides and move mid first will be advantageous in the mid push. So T1 have got stronger solo lanes that they've been investing in the top side so much. But just like you said, Ghost will be incredibly strong. He has Gale Force already picked up.
And this was such a crucial series for Ghost. Gumayusi coming out strong, saying they believe they're the strongest bot side in the tournament. Ghost, often the guy who's overlooked or looked down on, really, in this Damwon KIA roster. So to have him come out swinging 1-0-3, Gale Force at 12 minutes, really a part of all of these plays, is such a fantastic start to this series.
Absolutely, and I feel like the reality with Ghost has somewhat, lagged behind. Like the perception is a little bit different than where he is today. A lot of people are still thinking about him as this kind of weakness that he maybe was at MSI. People are pointing towards this Damwon bot lane is where you can really exploit them, but it hasn't been the case at Worlds. He has been really, really solid, and I do think he had a much better summer split in the LCK than he did in spring. This is a bot lane that has been getting better and better.
Yeah, the only real game you can think of as Ghost underperforming is that one against Rogue in the group stage, where he got caught out a lot, almost lost Damwon and gave them their first loss. But ever since then, especially in their series against Mad, he looked very consistent, especially on the Jhin against Mad Lions. And here he is playing it once again.
And we saw in the bans, not going to let Gumayusi have those comfort picks, those hyper carry champions, limiting what he can bring to the table. The fact that Ghost is fitting so well into a more topside focused draft, again, positive for Damwon KIA. As Canna managed to take the first Drake of the game, and the 1-3-1 really already taking place here. We're already seeing in the mid lane, Jhin just pairing with the Maokai, the Lucian to protect him while each of the respective solo laners are sent out to the sides.
The difference here is, though, Damwon can play on 2 lanes. Yes, T1 can play on top side and start hitting this tower, but look at the rest of the map. As I bring it up, you can see bot lane pushed in for Damwon, mid lane constantly pushed in for Damwon, and FLICKR can barely even walk up. He has to wait for the wave to come to his tier 2, so Damwon have so much more map control right now, and they can transition that towards the top side when the next Herald spawns.
Absolutely, and you look at just the line of vision they have across that bottom side for Damwon, through the river, invading into the enemy jungle now. It makes it very difficult for T1 to move from mid to bot, so FLICKR can't really do anything besides just sit under his tower and clear waves. He doesn't know where those Damwon members are, so you always have to be aware of that potential 2v1 coming in with someone behind ShowMaker.
Yeah, FLICKR's job is just to match the TP, really. If ShowMaker looks for a play mid or top, he's just there to catch waves right now and trying to involve himself on any kind of over-push in mid lane. If Damwon tries to step up and hit this tier 1, you can see him on the minimap rotating in between tier 2 bot and tier 1 mid to make sure he's there in case anything kicks off.
Taking the time, a bit more of a slow game. No really big objectives to play for quite yet. Scuttlecrab's coming back up, and for now, looks like Khan just going to catch the wave on the top side. A ton of vision there for T1. If he overextends, it is a lane they can continue to play around, but as highlighted already, a lot of individual power on the side of Damwon KIA, a lot of single target focus for both of these comps. If a single member of T1 oversteps, this Damwon KIA lead can grow very quickly.
Now, as the second Herald spawns in around 30 seconds to a minute, the biggest question is, what will T1 do? Do you want to contest this Herald and try to get it, which will break open mid tier 1, which unlocks the map? Or do you want to drop the Herald, play for this bot tier 1, and try to get your solo lanes further ahead in gold? They have 2 big options ahead of them, and they have to decide which one they want to take.
It'll be really interesting to see, but I think because it's T1, they're going to fight for it. They almost always will fight for that Herald. They love to go for those 5v5s around it. The question is if they just think they're too far behind to actually be able to contest, then maybe they should make this bot side play.
Yeah, both solo laners just hitting this bot tier 1. Maybe they just want to pressure a tier 2. The problem with this trade is ShowMaker's pushing top. You're going to lose out on top tier 1 for bot tier 1. The only difference is they're going to get a Herald, which inevitably means a mid tier 1, right? So unless T1 force more here or use a Ryze ult to try and kind of dive Khan, I think it's just going to be a lost trade for T1, and FLICKR's going to base and catch that top wave. That'll be that, but BeryL is sniffing around bots. Maybe he wants to look for Canna if he oversteps.
As highlighted, Rift Herald will drop uncontested in favor of Canyon. Good culling coming down. Oner on the bottom side, but 2 members from each team here. Make it difficult. That said, FLICKR holding on to the top tower, getting aggressive up against ShowMaker, now locking him up, finding the snare, but Canyon is in the area again, fishing for just a bit more damage. Keria here to stop any potential dive. FLICKR and T1 holding on to the top side tower.
That was really close, yeah. So they're trying to aggressively fight for this. As you were saying, Cadril, you know, Dom1 could have got a 2-for-1 towers. If they actually get that top lane tower, then they use the Herald mid, they would have got all 3 of those outer tier 1s. So they commit FLICKR's TP, but this does now mean Dom1 have the TP advantage on ShowMaker, so Canna will likely have to match the LeBlanc because he's the only one with that teleport up.
Little bit of a risk there from FLICKR, just TPing to the tower. He saw ShowMaker, but he didn't have any vision on Canyon, I believe, so there was a world where he could have got dove there, but he was confident enough in his own mechanics to kind of dodge away from whatever they threw at them. Obviously, the chain has to land for the follow-up to be there, so the confidence is there. They have the top push now, but like you said, lacking that TP advantage in mid. We'll see if ShowMaker can use that to Damon's advantage as they try to set up with this Herald play.
And credit to T1 for keeping the gold where it was. About 1.5k gold lead when we checked in 5 minutes ago. Really, DWG KIA not able to grow that any further. They do have the Herald now, and we'll have to see where that goes. Tier 2 is still incredibly valuable. Regardless of where they want to use it, they will get some money, but his plates have already fallen. Has potential to not be as big of an impact as it could have been earlier in the game.
This is the problem with investing the TP top. You could have caught that wave on tier 2 anyway, but inevitably you use your TP to defend it. You defend it for 1 wave, the bounce comes in, and it falls, right? So TP was used to hold the tower for an extra minute or 2, which hasn't really netted you any vision towards this top side either. So I would say a bit of a misplay there, but still, let's see if they can contest the mid push.
Yeah, they at least got river wards and stuff, but all that got cleared out as they move topside. They drop pinks, they clear out that side brush ward, they clear out the tri brush ward that T1 did have, and now that top tier 1 has gone down and didn't cost you your Herald. So now you can look for that triple tier 1 type of play to extend the gold lead pretty much right back to where it was.
Yeah. Now we'll see what the next play is going to be. Honestly, game getting much quieter. Neither team seems 100% confident pushing any kind of greater advantages. Both teams matching the 1-3-1 pretty well. Small hiccups here and there, but nothing so egregious that it could lead to an open skirmish or a pick on a side lane.
But T1 are grouping around this dragon. 30 seconds until the dragon spawns, and DWG can force mid push if they herald it. Khan has bot push right now as well, but T1 are grouped up and they want to force something, get the vision already established so they can contest this objective.
And with how T1's comp works in DWG, they have to be the first to it. They want to get pokes with the shock blast. They want to be first to the scene, otherwise you're walking through saplings, you're walking through the Maokai ultimate, which is so incredibly difficult to do.
Such an important highlight, Azeo. I think when DWG KIA have the setup, Maokai feels like such an oppressive champion. In any other circumstance, Leona, the flexibility of her engage, the reliability of her ultimate feels powerful. But if you're walking into the saplings, if you're walking into the culling and the Jhin, it is not a fight that's going to go your way.
T1 have a lot of lockdown as well. If Leona ult hits, they can follow up with a Poppy Stun, a Ryze root, Everfrost. They have a lot of single target CC, but there's the mid push coming in from DWG. If T1 don't respond to this, they could lose 2 towers mid, and that gold disadvantage would really, really hurt them going towards the late game.
Oner looks like he wants to fight. He's kind of posturing behind here. Will T1 try to find and engage?
Ulti coming out. Gumayusi just going to deny any further push, going to stop anything from happening there on the Herald. Yes, it's a low mid lane tower, but they're not able to get a lot else. Mid wave now dead even as it's a fight for vision. Full 5v5 here, pushing off. Canna off to the side. ShowMaker trying to find a little bit of poke here. Zone him away from the fight. That's the lockup from the Jhin and the curtain call. They're going to get a pick before the fight starts off. Leona canceling the ultimate, but it does not matter. BeryL there to finish the job. DWG KIA in control of the pit.
Yeah, DWG, perfect gameplay there. Just flushing T1 out of this river, eventually pushing them out with the hard engage from the Jhin W, making sure they isolate one member. They get the tower mid, they get the dragon, bots pushed in, tops pushed in. They're gonna get everything.
Yeah, now they're just gonna get the tier 1 as well. Yes, it was denied, it was delayed, but DWG coming away with everything they need here. 3K up, they've got both the Heralds, they've got both the Dragons. They are looking really strong in game number 1. T1 trying to hang on here. You know, once you expend the MF ultimate mid, it's very difficult to actually commit to the full 5v5. You know, it's such a powerful cooldown. And once Canna gets caught trying to move back towards the dragon, it's just absolutely done.
Yeah, we see it again. Damwon used the Herald mid to make T1 answer. And the second of the LeBlanc lands a combo, even if the chain doesn't fully connect, the Jhin W coming in is what locks Canna down. Flash forward from BeryL, make sure he's dead. And now T1 are just way too split up. You're pushed out of the river at a numbers disadvantage without MF ult. There's no way you can contest.
And I think it's important to highlight again, when we look back at the finals, T1 are an incredibly powerful early game team. No one has contested that. It's the mid and the late game where they often faltered against DWG KIA, and now we are heading into a mid and a late game where they do not have that early game lead, where DWG KIA are firmly in control of the game. They're up in Drakes, they are up in towers at this moment, and T1 need to find a way to get back.
And what's it coming off the back of? It's coming off the back of Damwon's bot lane. Who'd have thought, right? We thought this was a top side Armageddon. T1 was focusing towards the top side, and we favored T1's bot lane as players to be stronger than Damwon's bot lane, because Ghost and BeryL have been struggling all year long. Ghost with the breaks, BeryL at MSI, but now at Worlds they seem to have come together much better.
And you have to give credit to how well Canyon is playing around that bot side as well. You know, being there at the right timing when Oner was coming in, anticipating that they were going to look for that aggressive play. The Lucian was there to answer. That has put him significantly ahead of Oner, and it really felt like since that bot lane play, T1 has been on the back foot, have been trying to play it much more defensively and wait to get their items so they can get this 1-3-1 online. But DWG are doing a good job pushing the pace, and because T1 haven't been able to steal away a dragon, there is always that soul that you have to worry about.
Yeah, and it's just great to see the consistency of Damwon's bot lane for being able to play for both sides, play for dragons. This is something we thought T1 would be doing, and we saw throughout the LCK. Dragon was the focus, late game fights were the focus with things like Jinx, Braum, and Azir, but now Damwon actually able to play through multiple lanes. Makes it so much more dangerous to play against him, both in-game and in draft, as Canyon is hovering towards bot side, looking for Canna. We'll get spotted out by the blue orb.
Can clear that one out. Con here for now. Has the luxury of the red buff for these trades, but FLICKR and Canna both committed to the bottom side. Meanwhile, it's just Oner on the top side, ready to catch CS as well as take the Krugs.
And I think this is smart from T1. You know, he's just going to try to hover and tail his other solo laner here. FLICKR is going to play behind Canna, see if they can get themselves into a 2v2 or find a 2v1 to try to get a pick, open up the map, and pull Damwon around.
Yeah, but Damwon have been question mark pinging that bot lane so many times. I think they know FLICKR's there because he hasn't showed top for around a minute now. There's been so many question mark pings. I'm pretty sure Damwon read this play. The blue orb will spot out FLICKR if he walks too far forward. And there it is. Is he going to Ryze ult to commit? No, it just looks like FLICKR will be spotted out and Oner will catch the top wave, but this means Damwon have a numbers advantage top side. Maybe they want to look to force something.
Yeah, and Canyon's moving up there as well. I mean, if Oner's not careful, he is not that tanky. Canyon looking like he may want to try to go for some sort of a play, or at the very least, just zoning Oner off, while T1 do continue to push bot side. So both teams now committing pretty heavily to trying to get a tier 2.
And this is something T1 has to do. They know they can't face check top side. LeBlanc, Lucian, if you face check anyone on their team, you're locked up and you're locked down and you're gonna die. So just trading tier 2s is the best play to do. So great map read from T1, knowing that both teams can only play on one lane. Damwon playing top side, T1 playing bot side, and if Damwon even turned towards a Baron, double TP comes in, and that's stopped.
But this is really smart stuff from T1. You know, they are playing, I think, pretty well to their wing conditions. The question now becomes, you know, can you actually maintain enough vision to feel safe that Damwon is not doing the Baron, right? Can you actually keep that safety in your jungle so you can be checking on the Baron, making sure that nothing is happening without getting picked off every time you do walk in? Because as Kjol is highlighting, it's so dangerous when you do have that potential to face check the LeBlanc, to face check that Lee Sin.
High stakes, the later and later we get. Any Fog War can be a death trap that will immediately lead to Baron for either side. Plenty of tanky members to tank that one out, plenty of damage to back it up. Neither team's Baron looks too shabby at this stage of the game as FLICKR pushes in again on the top side. We check in on the itemization. You can see Sorel the Scourge coming in for Khan, making it that much easier to shut down Canna if he ever does get support off in the side lane. Similarly, Ghost working towards a third item. This is going to be very explosive next fight, but for now, very much a battle of map movement, not a battle of skirmishes or big plays. It's no ShowMaker fishing over the wall, trying to find something, and that's going to be it. Ghost finding the shot, looking for the fourth bullet, now stepping forward. Gale Force maybe a bit premature, but here comes the curtain call. Keria now has to make his way out, flash out to safety. The bullet's connecting, waiting to go over the wall. Canyon waiting right there, turning back into the fight, but he'll go down in the meantime. DWG KIA, priority access to the Baron.
Yeah.
FLICKR cancel his recall, maybe he's looking for Ghost. He will get spotted out though, Damwon can collapse on him.
FLICKR running, DWG KIA taking this one slowly. It's still a very early Baron. It's going to take a little bit of time. Oner off to the side, Gumayusi off to the side. He has the bullet time. He can try to make something work here, but BeryL in the area. Realm Warp coming in, just trying to dissuade the Baron, but DWG KIA unfazed.
Yeah, they're just going to go for it. ShowMaker over the wall. He's looking for Oner, trying to keep him away from that, so it's not a 50-50.
Oner on his lonesome has no damage, and there's Ghost one more time. Gumayusi over the wall trying to get the bear. Can he do it? Can he do it? No! Canyon with the smite secures it. DWG KIA in total control.
Yeah, T1 are wiped. DWG are going to get the Baron. They're going to get the Dragon as well. That's going to put them at Cloud Soul Point. And you can just see how they're playing it to perfection through the patience of ShowMaker. He dashes forwards, marks the target, gets his burst across, and Ghost finishes the job. T1 have no range advantage whatsoever in these fights.
Yeah, it's twice now that ShowMaker has been able to find Canna on this Jayce. Not only does he take him down, he forces the flash out, and then the chase was just on for DWG, playing so well around this pick that ShowMaker's able to fall, even just pushing out Oner, not allowing any chance of a 50-50. They're at Soul Point, they're massively ahead, and it feels like DWG is getting close to having this first game in the bag.
Opening game, so crucial. Momentum and confidence. Remember how young the T1 players are. These are rookies that have come all the way up on the T1 lineup and are now being picked apart by DWG KIA in this game in the new Axe Effect replay.
Yeah, full combo comes out from ShowMaker. The Jhin W finishes the job when they open up the curtain call to chase. Even if Keria has flash, they can force it and at best get a kill, and they do. FLICKR tries to cancel his recall to buy time. Canna has TP in 10 seconds, but DWG are there to finish it. ShowMaker's there to zone away Oner, and it's just great play from DWG.
And I actually like T1, taking a risky player. Yes, it is a 3v5. Yes, it is low percentage play, but they could feel this game getting away from them, and they know if they lose the Baron, game 1 is likely gone. So if you can find a pick and defend in 3v4, maybe something happens, but ShowMaker just absolutely unleashed here. Wants to make a name for himself, does not want to be thought of as the next FLICKR. He is the first ShowMaker, and he has shown why in game number 1, has been absolutely dominating here.
2-0 and 3, backed up by Ghost, 3-0 and 6. An excellent first game for him. FLICKR off to the sideline trying to push, just trying to get something back. Already knows that they're going to have to give up the inhibitor here. Keria, so much damage now coming in. Everyone's going to body block, but in the meantime, Curtain Call is going to buy so much time for Canyon to push in this mid wave. Oner very low. Canna can step forward with an Empowered Shock Blast, but not much else is going to come through. FLICKR continuing to push on a side lane, but he is going to lose 2 inhibitors for this single tier 2.
Yeah, but FLICKR knows even if he's there's nothing he can do. He has no range advantage. He has no wave clear because he's so short ranged. If he walks up, he's the one that's going to get hit by the Jhin ult, and then BeryL will just flash forwards, lock him down, and he's dead. So it was inevitable for T1 to lose the mid and bot inhib if DWG had good setup. They did, in fact. So FLICKR just tries to find something on the other side of the map, but still 6k gold deficit, Cloud Soul Point for DWG. All they have to do now is play towards the top side, buff up mid and bot waves, and then start sieging the Nexus.
Exactly. You can expect them to get that vision in the top side, to be able to play through mid and top, escort in those waves. DWG's so good at this stage of the game. This is where it always feels like they're pretty much bulletproof. They rarely ever lose these games from ahead when they are in control in these positions, and that's why coming into the series, people talk so much about T1's early game, about their ability to get leads in the finals, because it felt like that's what T1 would need. And now they are very far behind, and they are faced with a difficult position. Need to get a pick.
Oner hiding in the brush, 3 men there, but Khan just sending some poke down, recalls will complete. And I think important to remember, T1 opted to camp topside. Khan weathered that storm. DWG KIA found their counterpunch on the bottom side, and again, I think shocked a lot of people when Ghost has often been the center of attention in this game. Excellent start for the team. Definitely going to need to see T1 mix it up as we head into the second game, adapt to what DWG KIA are bringing to the table, because this is a hard one to come back in.
And it's also almost impossible to find picks for T1 because BeryL just throws saplings in every single brush. It's so safe to check these. He's gone full tank as Maokai, now using the ult to zone T1 off, and they're going in.
Coming in, big damage. That's going to that fall coming out, they're taking their time. Oner now going through over the wall, but DWG KIA, they're just too far ahead. T1, yes, they're using abilities, they're throwing skills back, but Curtain Call's coming out, and T1 are running out of time.
Yeah, ShowMaker's gonna base and TP back here. The Shock Blasts are coming in and it's poking them down a little bit, but with ShowMaker full HP, buying items and coming back, they should be able to force this top inhibitor. If this falls, I think that's it for T1. They're gonna have to try and fight this, otherwise they're gonna lose out on every objective on the map.
3 inhibitors down. That is a death sentence. T1. They're going to go out fighting, or they're going to get bled out. DWG KIA, they're going in. Gumayusi going down. Canna forced to back away, carrying it. FLICKR just getting torn apart. It's all too easy for DWG KIA. Early game close and contested, but mid to late, DWG KIA in absolute control here in game 1. Going to take them a bit of time to kill the Nexus, but they will find first blood in this best-of-5 series.
T1 just wasn't able to create the same kind of early advantages that got them into those winning situations in the finals. They weren't able to get ahead, and some of it does feel like it's through the draft. Yes, Oner has this good pick of the Poppy as an answer to the Lee Sin, but you're kind of the more defensive side of that matchup. You want to be answering the Lee Sin's ganks. It's harder for you to actually make your own plays happen. The only plays really did come from FLICKR moving towards top. They got some advantages there, but Damwon's bot side was getting so much more. ShowMaker was always relevant, and Damwon just played incredibly well through the mid and late game.
I wonder if Damwon know that T1 is a responsive team in drafts. Think back to the Hanwha Live series, they give them LeBlanc, they give them Renekton, they pick things like Poppy and Lissandra into it, and they like to counterpick lanes itself. Maybe the team composition just kind of fell apart a little bit there, because it really felt like T1 had no business ever contesting anything because of the range advantage.
Had faith in their counter picks. You saw LeBlanc up, you saw Lee Sin up. It was an easy call to say, hey, Damwon KIA is going to go for these picks. We knew the Poppy was coming, but Damwon outperforming, really showing up on an individual level. And important to remember that this Damwon lineup is so unstoppable in the part of the game, as you highlighted, the early game where T1 have often looked so good. That said, it's time to check out T1's pick as the song that represents their playstyle, Runner, by T1, DJ Redden, Baekhyun, and Changmo. I'm so sorry if I butchered those names. And of course, the rest of the teams competing at Worlds on the official LOL playlist on Spotify. For now, we're going on a short break. We'll be right back with more Worlds 2021.
Oh yes, the king of the jungle. Time for a quick Red Bull?
Red Bull? But you still won't be quicker than the lion.
I don't have to be quicker than the lion, just quicker than you.
Red Bull gives you wings.
The magical power of the realm is a mystery. Like a guardian, it is with you always. Defending you, charging you, watching over you like... Actually, it's not magic. It's this Cisco network. The power behind every gank, every combo, every mind-blowing moment. At League of Legends World Championships.
I woke up to the morning sky first. Baby blue, just like we rehearsed.
This ain't where the legends come from. You know what a hero looks like. All the people on fire, fire. Maybe it's time they meet their dragon. 'Cause if I gotta break it all down, then let's break it all down. Fly away, fire, and we'll burn it all down. I'm alone, only love myself no more. Take it to the grave, I'll ghost. I know I can be so cold. In the dark, where I like to keep my heart. No more bite, no bark. Like to catch you way off guard. I'll stay so deep inside your brain and take you somewhere far away. Time to roll the dice, you know I'm the type to risk my life, not afraid to die. Type to make you cry, type to put a price all up on your head. Do just what I said. I'm a straight up villain, yeah, no feeling, yeah, no feeling. Straight up villain, yeah, no feeling, yeah, no feeling. I'm alive, but I'm dead. Hear my voice up in your head. Watch it fill you full of dread till you go. Is it really a surprise if I'm playing with your mind and I treat you like a prize? Then I throw you to the side. And am I really that bad if I love to make you mad and get happy when you're sad? Only care about a bad in control. That's how I like it, and I'm never letting go. No, never had a soul, so you ain't taking nothing from me when you go. No, I'll stay so deep inside your brain and take you somewhere far away. Time to roll the dice, you know I'm the type to risk my life, not afraid to die. Type to make you cry, type to put a price all up on your head. Do just what I said. I'm a straight up villain, yeah, no feeling, yeah, no feeling. Straight up villain, afraid to die. Type to make you cry, type to put a price all up on your head. Do just what I said.
Welcome back to the State Farm Analyst Desk, where the undefeated run here at Worlds 2021 continues. It's DWG KIA taking Game 1 over T1. In a number of ways, this happened exactly how we expected it to, and we will get to that. But I do want to talk about draft, because Vedius, when you take a look at the compositions that both of these teams came away with, you look at T1 and you go, wow, that is the picture of the world's meta right there. That's everything you could possibly want.
It certainly is. It feels like that they kind of got everything that they did want, right? You have like this really strong top side in Jayce, an easy lane to play through. You have solid engage, good team fighting later on to the game. You have a champion that can match in sides. You also have FLICKR on his Ryze. You're like, wow,
Poppy counter the dashes.
Yeah, exactly. Like everything is looking good. And then you kind of look at DWG's comp and you're like, huh, how does this really
It looks
fit
so
together?
annoying, though.
And exactly. Annoying is the perfect word for it, because this is when we actually got to see it execute in the game, this is a pick comp. And the whole idea behind it is you kind of attack people in the setup around objectives. You look to chunk people out. You look to like annoy them with the Maokai saplings. You look to try and hit them with Jhin Ws when they take a bit of damage. And you're just trying to be as obnoxious as possible to not give T1 the optimal setup when it comes to playing around these objectives.
There are so many things you can do with this, and especially if you've got the early push, if you have an early advantage, shove the waves. Maokai saplings through all these brush when they're trying to come fish around for dragons. The linchpin that brings it all together is going to be Ghost with the long range for all these picks. It's just like, there's so many things that you can do if you have the control to set it up.
Here's what I know you want to talk about, Kobe. It's the top lane and it's the early game plays made by T1.
Exactly. Coming back to T1 and some of their aggression around top lane, we laid out the game plan for them to be around top. This is the second ward, actually, that they placed up here. Poppy comes over, places the first, then Canna places his in the brush. So you know that this is talked about in Champ Select straight from the get-go. Hey, we are going to try and take advantage of this early Lucian pick by having FLICKR use the first teleport up there. They take the opportunities to also counter roam when ShowMaker goes bottom. FLICKR's back up there, punish the no flash. They have the game plan. They're getting some money for themselves, Vedius.
And I feel like that we're going back into the group stage where we saw them play against EDG, and even though they fell short to EDG, they're playing well to their game plan. They have a good game plan. Sometimes the problem is, though, the other team is just able to better execute upon their own game plan.
I was going to say, you're not the only team with a game plan.
Right, exactly.
In a game between two teams, and if we know anything about DWG, it's their ability to understand where, the losing side of the map is and where the winning side of the map is, and say, you know what, okay, Con, you're on your own, buddy. We're going elsewhere.
Yeah, and it was critical how they set up their counter on bottom side, and then after they got their bottom lead, what DWG did with it to get the most out of it is they would push the trades, but they would force the trades to be on the side of the map that has the extra objective. And so, yes, you're trading towers, but you're also going up a dragon. You're also going up a Rift Herald and having those repeat.
And Vedius, in essence, what happened here is that DWG invested tremendous resources bot lane, and while we talk about the ingenuity of the Maokai, it was all there in support of Ghost Jhin. He is our Oppo player of the game. Laser focus. I mean, honing missiles, it seemed like, when it came to picking people off. And so much of this early game was about putting him in a position to carry.
He performed extremely well, and it felt like that every time he threw out his W, it just did not miss. You understand now why he has a world skin after all, and it is on this champion. The way in which he worked with the Maokai and the rest of his team in order to consistently find these picks and catch T1 off guard is a large part of why DWG was able to come out ahead in this game.
It looked so perfect. It was almost like Ghost was taking this as an opportunity to have an advertisement for his skin. Look, you too can have pinpoint accuracy, hit every W to snipe people for picks. You see here how annoying the comp is with ShowMaker getting the tag. It's the Jhin W that roots him in place, allows the Maokai to flash and follow up. There's so many. He's able to find the snipe. Another one in mid lane. ShowMaker sets it up. Boom. Ghost knocks him down.
And this is exactly how the comp works. And for the record, this is a very difficult composition to execute upon, but this is also the caliber with which DWG is bringing to the world stage right now. Regardless of what they are playing, they're able to find a way to execute upon it perfectly. And it was such a joy to watch them execute this because they didn't force any 5v5 team fights. They didn't overcommit. Every single fight was simply a matter of they get a pick, they'll get another pick, they'll get another pick. And like T1's like, can we MF ult into like, Ryze, can we team fight? And Dom was like, no, we're good. We'll just keep killing you one at a time, and it was played to perfection.
And that's what I think the genius of this comp was. They know playing against SKT, they're going to try and brute force you. They're going to try and start these team fights and run in and get these engages. And so they picked this comp that has so much mobility and so much potential for setting up these picks and potential for picking off when you're trying to rush in. So much counter engage as well as large swaths of zone control.
Again, reliving this moment around the Baron, you know, the picks that came before, but also too now the control that this Dom1 comp allows with the man or two advantage. There's no way you're getting in. I mean, your best bet there was the MF ult stealing, and you know you're not gonna MF ult beat a smite out of Canyon.
Cannon, with only 50 HP remaining, he waits, he does his job as a jungler. He's not going to early smite for the health. He doesn't panic as he's going out, hits it, secures the objective as well. Just so beautiful to watch this team operate.
And I just kind of want to come back to this whole like draft point again, because like when you kind of look at this comp initially, I was also skeptical. I looked at this and I thought, how do you even make this work? But then the beauty of this Maokai was, as you're rightly saying, every time T1 sits there and thinks, right, we're getting a team fight, we will force this, we will make sure we get it, Maokai ultimate comes through, and you're just like, Durr! And it comes back to what Kobe was saying, was like, this comp is so annoying to play against, and it felt like that T1, regardless of what they tried to do, they were never given a window to make anything happen.
And I love, too, kind of the extra vision advantage that you get when you have the Maokai, because you're looking at the team and you're maybe thinking one of the weaknesses is that it is so squishy, but with all the deeper vision because of the saplings, you also get earlier time to set up and coordinate your picks.
It's that late knockout stage innovation that you love to see in the draft, and it does net Dom1 a first initial victory in this matchup. Now, while we wait for Game 2, let's go ahead and hear from FLICKR and Ghost on today's semifinals, thanks to our friends at Oppo.
일단 4강부터가 진짜라고 생각하고 있고 이번 4강 상대도 만만치 않기 때문에 굉장히 재밌을 거라고 생각하고 있습니다. 조금 기쁘긴 한데 아직 이제 저희의 목표는 우승이기 때문에 아직 좀 더 갈 길이 남았다 이런 느낌이 듭니다. 일단은 저희 팀이 갈수록 많이 발전을 하고 있기 때문에 이번 4강 상대만 이기면 충분히 결승까지 올라와서 우승할 수 있을 것 같습니다. 결승 무대에서 만나고 싶었는데 여기서 만나서 좀 아쉽긴 한데 그래도 만나서 너무 영광이고 좋은 경기 했으면 좋겠는데 이제 이기는 건 저희가 하겠습니다.